Hey, so I figured I would put together a video talking about what I packed for my hospital bag, what I would pack for my hospital bag if I could go back and do it again, and a little bit about my labor and delivery experience. So if you already have your hospital bag packed, scroll on down to my labor and delivery experience if you want to hear about that, or just watch it all and give me some love. So going into my hospital bag, I feel like I packed a little bit too much with giving birth during COVID-19. There was just so much limited stuff as it was that it wasn't really necessary to pack like a whole bunch of cute outfits or go out and buy that cute hospital gown with the cute flowers on it, stuff like that. So I wrote down a little list of the things that I had packed, and I would say travel size shampoo, conditioner, body wash. Travel size. You don't need anything more than that because you probably will maybe get 2 chances to take a shower. I did. But you don't need more than that much soap, and you want to try to pack lightly. Deodorant, chapstick, face lotion, toothbrush, toothpaste, and hairbrush, headband, and hair ties, because you don't want your hair all up in your face whenever you're trying to do the lactation consulting, giving birth, and let's see. I brought slippers. I packed slippers. They're the cutest things ever, super comfortable, but I think I only wore them because I packed them. They give you socks with non-slip on the bottom, so you don't really need the slippers. Shower shoes, if you really absolutely need to pack them, you can, but I didn't because, it's COVID-19 world, so everything has to be completely sanitized, on top of sanitized at the hospital. So it was really nice. Like, I could smell the cleanliness as we walked into the door. So it was really nice, and I didn't use the shower shoes. Let's see, snacks. You want to pack snacks. We went on a snack splurge before the baby, and we were like in the hot mood. So hot Cheetos, hot bean dip, stuff like that. And then by the time we were there, we're like, oh my gosh, like we wish we'd had more of a variety, but nevertheless, we still had snacks, so that was nice. Cash, you don't want to forget cash, because in the middle of the night, whenever the cafeteria is not open, the vending machines are, so cash will save your life. Let's see. Going home clothes, you only need 1 pair for you, 1 pair for daddy, and 1 pair for the baby. Don't pack a whole suitcase of clothes. It's not necessary. No one's there to impress. So just one, and one. I think that if I could go back, I would have packed a big t-shirt and some super comfortable shorts to wear on my going home outfit, because I had packed like this cute yoga pants, this cute black shirt, and I didn't even take my picture. We didn't even get our pictures taken as we were leaving. So I wasted $30 there. Sorry, Sean. But yeah, if I was to go back, I would just big t-shirt, get comfortable. You're just going home, Let's see. The hospital provides the non-slip socks, like I mentioned. They have pillows, they have blankets, they even have diapers, they have the beanie, the swaddle, and the t-shirts for the baby. And I have one right here, the little t-shirt that they have there, and it has these built-in mittens in it. So you fold it over the sleeve. You fold it over the sleeve where the hands go through, obviously. You put it over their hands so they don't scratch the hell out of their face, which they will, trust me. So these little shirts are a lifesaver, and I took like 6 of these because This was all he was in, like the first 2 weeks that he was here at home. And then of course they have the beanies, they have tons of these, so you don't need to bring your own unless you absolutely want to, just to take cute pictures, but he was in this the whole time. And then of course, you know, the swaddle, the blue and red swaddle, or pink, we'll just say red because he's a boy. So we had those swaddle, and it's actually a pretty decent size, so you know, I keep that around, and sometimes I'll snuggle him in it if I want to remember how tiny he was. Anyway, they have face rags, they have towels, they have your panties, your mesh panties, the pads, the Tux pads, the Perry bottle. So no need to go and buy anything fancy. They have all of that. And I highly recommend telling your nurse, hey, can I please have some extras so I can take home? More than likely, they'll throw it all into a big old bag for you and let you take it home. Now, the breast pump that they had there was a Medela breast pump, and I actually had the Medela Pump and Style at home. So at the end of my stay, she told me, the lactation consultant told me, that they throw away the extra parts like the tubing, the flanges, the membranes. They throw that all away after I get done using it. So she asked me if I wanted to keep it, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know I could do that. And I'm so glad that I did, because now I have extra parts for my pump, and they would have thrown it away anyway. So if you have a Medela Pump and Style, it fits the one that's at the hospital. So definitely ask for extra stuff because you will need it. Oh, and they also have a folder for all of the baby's discharge paperwork and everything to, you know, take it on home with you there. So you don't need to bring any like binders or nothing crazy, you know. So that was really nice. Anyway, all in all, that was my hospital bag packing. I packed way more than that. I packed like a breastfeeding pillow. I packed all this stuff, and I ended up not even using it. So I'll put a link below of the list. That way you can kind of print it out if you want to. So my labor and delivery experience. How did I know that I was going into labor? Well, it started at 5 o'clock in the morning when I was asleep, and I had a pretty intense Braxton Hicks contraction. Now, I've had Braxton Hicks since I was 20 weeks pregnant, so I knew what a Braxton Hicks was, and this one was just a little bit tighter than normal. Of course, in my head, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, this is it. And then it went away, and it didn't come back, you know, for like 15 minutes. So I was like, oh, well, you know, just in my head, I'm anticipating, you know, labor. Well, 5:15 comes around, 5:30 comes around, 5:45, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've had one every 15 minutes. So I decided I was going to jump in the shower and, you know, try to relax. And, you know, maybe I thought that me stressing about it was causing it. So I took a 15-minute shower, 6 o'clock rolls around, and I had another one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I'm in labor. So at 6 o'clock, I decided to go and download a contraction timer on the App Store, and I started timing my contractions. And they started becoming 12 minutes apart, like consistently 12 minutes apart. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mind is so powerful that I know that the 12 minutes is coming, so maybe I'm causing these contractions. No. It was really happening. I was going through the labor contractions, but I didn't know that yet. I was still in denial. So then I went to try to lay back down, go back to sleep, and then I felt like this pain start from my lower back, and it almost like hugged me. It wrapped around to the front, and then it tightened, like it was like a squeeze tighten, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in labor. Like I knew right then and there when it started from my back and it came all the way around to my front, I knew this is labor. So I got on the phone, I called my midwife, I let her know like, hey, this is what I'm feeling. It doesn't really hurt yet. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably like a 2. You know, what do I do? Is this real? She said, walk around, if the contractions start to get further apart, then it's just the Braxton Hicks, or it could be false labor. And if they get closer together, then once they become 3 to 5 minutes apart, go to the hospital. So whenever I got there, the nurse had kind of looked at me, the nurse in triage kind of looked at me and was like, "You don't look like you're in labor." And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I am." And it was a funny story because, she kind of like treated me like, "Do you know what Braxton Hicks contractions are compared to the regular contractions?" So that was kind of intimidating to me because, it was my first time, but I went with it. So I went and sat on a hospital bed. She put the thing on my belly to monitor the contractions and to monitor the baby's heartbeat. And while I'm laying there, she asked me like, what, on a scale of 1 to 10, how does that contraction feel? I was like, like a 5. It kind of hurts. I feel it deep down in the sole of my belly button, but it's not enough to where like I need meds. And she's like, "Okay, well, your midwife says that we're just going to keep you on a 2-hour labor watch, and at the end of 2 hours, if you're not dilated 4 centimeters or more, we're going to have to send you home." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, they're going to send me home like this? Feeling like this?" Like, I felt like I could not go home like that at all. So I was like, "Okay, sounds good. Like, please let me be dilated 4 centimeters or more by that time the 2 hours is up because I can't go home," right? So she brings me this little pitcher of water, ice cold water, and she says, "Here, honey, drink this cold water and it should help the contractions go away." She's like, "You're probably just experiencing false labor." And I'm like, challenge accepted, right? So I chugged that cold water because I was gonna show her I was not having false labor contractions. So I chugged the water, and then she came back in. I was like, "Hey, can I have some more water, please?" So she gave me more water, chugged that, and I was like, "These contractions are not going away." So she comes back in, checks, I'm dilated over 4 centimeters. Guess what? I was admitted to the hospital. We got our own room, everything, bada bing, bada bang. Told you. So that was my triage experience. Labor and delivery. It was a super nice room, really clean. All the nurses, staff was friendly. We had to wear a mask, but when we were by ourselves, we didn't have to. Like when it was just me and Sean, we didn't have to wear a mask. But anytime, one of the nurses or staff came in, we pulled the mask back over our face, because they asked us to. So we did. But then, fast forward to, I got the epidural, which I'm very glad that I did because I do have scoliosis. So I couldn't even imagine the pain that I did feel with those contractions, mixed in with scoliosis and trying to give birth naturally that way. I just don't think I could have done it. So, yes, I did get an epidural, and he tried about 5 different times sticking that big ass needle in my back, but he finally got it, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyway, fast forward, I progressed naturally. I didn't need any Pitocin, and she actually had to break my water for me once I was laying there, and then said, give it a couple hours, we'll come back and check. So I just took naps in between waiting for her to come in and check on me. Well, she came back in around 8 o'clock and she said, "Looks like you're ready to go. You're at 100%. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is really happening. And then after like that excitement hit me, I immediately started feeling nauseous. Like I needed to throw up. I had somebody bring me like one of those little bins that you throw up in. I needed food, I needed water, I needed to get up and move around, which I couldn't because I had an epidural. And I was telling my midwife, like, I can't do this, I don't feel good. And then the nurse that was right next to me, she was like, you're gonna have to do this because your baby's ready to come out. Like, you don't have any more time to be feeling this way. And I'm like, oh, and I looked at Sean, I was like, I can't do this, I don't feel good, I need to throw up. And she was like getting me all ready down there, and then the nurse was like, okay, it's time to push, ready? And I was like, no, I'm not ready. She's like, 1, 2, and then adrenaline just hit me. And I pushed, and it was a great push. And after that, I felt fine. It was like I had a major adrenaline rush that just made me feel so, so nervous, you know? Like, I've never given birth before. I didn't know what to expect, you know? So, probably went through about 4 or 5 more pushes. I can't remember because I wasn't really counting. And by 8:17, little baby James was born, and it was magical. I will stop real quick and say that I requested the delivery mirror. I don't know if you've heard of it or what. It sounds weird, but I highly recommend the delivery mirror. They bring it in, it's on this big tall stand, and it swivels, you know, and they put it down there in front of you so you can see the progression that you're having down there while you're pushing. I think that this helped me tremendously because I felt like I was still in control. Even though I couldn't feel anything down there, I felt like I was still in control of the delivery, which then in turn makes me feel like I didn't tear or anything because I was in control. I could see what was happening. I could see his head. It was so crazy. It's definitely something I would recommend for sure. It's a once in a lifetime experience, and it's your body and your baby. So why wouldn't you want to see that, you know? Anyway, so yes, I recommend the delivery mirror. And as soon as he was born, she gets him, and as soon as he comes out, she puts him right on my chest. Everything. While they're cleaning him up, he's crying, I'm crying, Sean's crying. Oh my God, I can't believe this is my baby. Like, it was just so magical, you know? And so perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better delivery. And now that's just my experience. Anyway, they took him, they cleaned him, they went and weighed him. Baby's crying. Be right back. And then after that, you know, we were in the room for about 2 hours, and they ended up taking us down to postpartum, which was on the next floor. And from there, we were by ourselves, and it was just me, Sean, and the baby. And, you know, I personally liked the whole COVID experience of only having just me and one other visitor, because I felt like we had that time to bond with each other and with our new baby without having to worry about guests coming in, how long they're gonna stay. You know, you're still healing. I mean, you're healing at this point, and you're still trying to recover hormonal wise. And it was a blessing in disguise, being able to be in there by ourselves. You know, no offense to anybody at all. We would love to have had visitors, of course, but at the end of the day, it was nice because I felt like that was our moment. And, you know, guests and visitors can see the baby afterwards. You know, that's your time. So I would say that I enjoyed the experience personally. We were in postpartum, and you know, he slept right next to my bed. Sean slept on the extremely comfortable couch that folds out into a bed. Sorry, babe. But if I could go back, I would definitely take advantage of the nursery. I didn't want to. Sean suggested that we did so we could get some sleep, but I just had anxiety. I didn't want him out of my sight. You know, a part of me was like, what if they don't hear my baby cry, or what if they don't take care of him the right way? And, you know, looking back at it now, those nurses deal with more babies than I ever have in my life. And what I would do to go back and take advantage of the nursery. not because I don't want to be around him, but the sleep is definitely something that I would recommend, especially after bringing a whole human into this world. Mama, please take advantage of it. Get some sleep, get some rest. You deserve it. You just brought a miracle into this world. You deserve some beauty rest, some sleep, some healing, and not waking up every 5 minutes checking over the little bassinet that's by your bed. Is he still breathing? You know, like that's every first mom's first thought, you know. I literally fell asleep with my hand over the bassinet. I brought the bed up high enough to where I could put my hand into the bassinet so I could feel him breathing. That's how paranoid I was. And imagine I got no sleep. So if I could go back, that's something I definitely would do. We were there for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We were there for 3 days. Tuesday we went home. And on discharge day is whenever they did the circumcision. That was a decision me and Sean decided to make. And they did it about 2 hours before we got discharged. It literally was 20 minutes. They had him back to us, cuddling, feeding, eating. He didn't cry or anything. He wasn't extra like clingy or anything. But we still cuddled, of course. Just to make sure. But they give you Neosporin, and so that, like, you know, they show you how to take care of it, how to, you know, properly change the diapers. Every time you change the diaper, you put a little dollop of Neosporin on there because, and you have to be, you know, you're generous with it too. They do provide you the Neosporin, so you don't need to bring your own. And if you ask for another one, they'll give you another one. And then, let's see, on the day that we left, we had to do the discharge paperwork. We had to watch the discharge video. And then Sean went down to go get the car. We left the car seat in the car because she wheelchaired me down to the car. And that's where we pulled the car seat out. We put him in there. She waited, and then she had to go back in because she can't be outside the doors for longer than supposed to because of COVID. And once we got him all buckled in and stuff, I sat in the back with him and we drove home, where my parents were waiting for us with some Whataburger because, hey, we're from Texas. And that is pretty much it. To sum it all up, I think that don't overthink your hospital bag. Just take comfortable clothes. Like I said, I was in a hospital gown and the mesh panties the whole entire time until the day that we got discharged. I finally put my clothes on and realized they didn't fit me very well. And they were really too tight. But comfortable clothes, you know, stuff to wash your hair, stuff to wash your mouth, brush your hair. They have everything else. And then next week, we'll see you then. Bye.